Hello everybody, and today I just thought of doing a very impromptu video about how we use the word in French grammar. Like I said, this is a very impromptu video. I wouldn't be covering a whole bunch of topics here. It is just a very short video based on a certain request that came to me. So I just thought I might as well make a video and send it across to the person who asked me this request, at the same time posting it online, so that if anybody else is having the same confusion going on in their minds, they can, hopefully my video would help to resolve that. Okay, so the word in French, it has a lot of uses, okay? And in this video, I'm just going to be talking about how we use the word to replace quantity, to replace a thing, and uses of as a preposition, as well as I'm going to be giving a little example based on a text that was sent to me by one of my contacts. So just to give an explanation of why the word we use the word and how we use it to interpret the meaning of the sentence. So first, let's look at how the word replaces a quantity. Okay, so I've given an example over here. Il y a 5 livres sur la table. J'en veux 2 s'il vous plaît. So the meaning is, there are 5 books on the table. I want 2. 2 please. So as you can see, we have used the word over here. So il y a 5 livres sur la table. Why didn't we just say je veux 2? Because that's not the way we use it. In French, we need to specify how much and of what we need, right? So that's why we use this word en. So je veux 2 is I want to, right? Je veux, let's say the is I want to. But how do you specify to of what? So that's when we use this word en. So when we say j'en veux 2 s'il vous plaît, this word refers to the books on the table. In this case, the 5 books on the table. So when we use it in a sentence, il y a 5 livres sur la table, j'en veux 2 s'il vous plaît. There are 5 books on the table, I want 2, meaning of the books, please. So replaces the 5 books. I hope that's a bit clear as to why we use the word in this specific example, right? So let's go to the second usage, and there are 2 examples in this, in which replaces a thing. So the first sentence, tu as des nouvelles de ton ami? Tu veux en parler? So you have news about your friend. Do you wish to talk about it? So, tu as des nouvelles de ton ami? Once again, you have news of your friend? This is used like a regular sentence with a question mark in the end. You can also use the inversion, in which case the sentence would read as as-tu des nouvelles de ton ami? Right? So in this case, I've just used the same present tense with a question mark in the end, which automatically gives it a very interrogative sense to it. All right, now let's go to the next part, which is more important. Tu veux en parler? Tu veux en parler. So why do we use this word en over here? So if I just say tu veux parler, is you want to talk, but here I want to specify, do you want or wish to talk or speak about the news of your friend? So, tu veux en parler? So, right? Replaces, or rather refers, right? I shouldn't be using the word replace, my apologies. It should be more like refers to the news about the friend. Okay? So, tu as des nouvelles de ton ami, tu veux en parler? Tu veux en parler. Parler de quoi? En parler, parler à propos des nouvelles de ton ami. Okay? So, needless to say, you just can't all of a sudden pick up the phone and tell your friend, tu veux en parler? you could probably, if your friend understands what you're talking about, but if she doesn't, this sentence would be always preceded by a sentence that talks about the thing that, would ultimately replace, right? So, tu veux en parler means, do you wish to talk about it? All right? So, in this case, replaces or refers to a thing, right? So, here it refers to the news about the friend. The second example where replaces once more a thing is over here. Les résultats sont publiés. Ma sœur Marie sera la première à en parler avec ma mère. The results are published. My sister Mary will be the first to talk about it with my mother. Right? So once again, can you see how we use the word to replace a thing over here, right? So the results are published. My sister Mary will be the first to talk about it. About what? About the results, right? To talk about it with my mother. If I did not use this word and let's say this sentence was never there, and if I just say, ma sœur Marie sera la première à parler avec ma mère, what does it mean? It means my sister Mary will be the first to talk with my mother. But to talk about what? If we have to refer to something that she wants to talk about, in this case, in the previous sentence, which clearly specifies the results, so sera la première à en parler, to talk about it with my mother. Okay, I hope this is once more kind of explanatory as to why we use the word en, right? So in this case, en replaces the published results. So, oops, sorry, obviously. Okay, so let's look at this. Unfortunately, I'm just going to be having to typing as I talk about it, and my apologies. I bought some cakes. J'ai acheté des gâteaux. Tu en veux un? I bought some cakes. Do you want one of it? Do you want one? So that's why we use this word en. So j'ai acheté des gâteaux. Okay, des gâteaux, cakes. Do you want one? If I just say tu veux un, is what? You want one of what? But if I say tu en veux un, oops, tu en veux un, like, do you want one of it, of the cakes, that is, right? If I just say tu veux un, is what? Like, you want one? But if you want to precise as to what do you want, we use this word en. Tu en veux un, so do you want one of it? If you can replace it with two, like if you want two of the cakes. Do you want two of the cakes? J'ai acheté des gâteaux. Tu en veux deux? I bought some cakes. Do you want two? Of what? Of the cakes. So in this case, en replaced or refers to the cakes. We're moving on to how en is used as an adverb. And I've given an example of a sentence here. Mon chat dort devant le feu et il ne veut pas s'éloigner. So my cat sleeps in front of the fire and he doesn't want to move away from it. So in the first part we said my cat sleeps in front of the fire, and then and to join the second part, il ne veut pas s'éloigner. He doesn't want to move away. S'éloigner is to move away, right? S'éloigner, oops. Éloigner is to move away. But to move away from what? From the fire, right? So, that's why we use the word en over here. So, mon chat dort devant le feu et il ne veut pas s'éloigner. So, en once again is used to replace le feu. My cat does not want to move away from the fire. So, en replaces le feu. Il ne veut pas s'en éloigner. Okay, so refers to that place. The place meaning, in this case, in the case of our sentence, it means the fire. So moving on used as a preposition. Three examples over here. Il reste en Inde. He remains in India. In India, so en Inde. Je vais à la poste en voiture. I go to the post office by car. By car. Nous sommes en octobre. We are in October, meaning we are in the month of October. So once again, three sentences just to give examples of how en can be used as a preposition. Il reste en Inde. Je vais à la poste en voiture. Nous sommes en octobre. Okay? Now this is basically the last part. What I'm going to be talking about is an example of an actual text. Well, I have kind of altered the text a bit. I was just kind of all of a sudden a bit wary whether I can use the exact text which one of my online contacts sent me. So I used the main theme of it, or the main essence of it, but I just kind of modified the words here and there. So he wanted to know what this whole text means and what is this word en doing in the text. So let's read this whole text together. Comment prévenir les jeunes que leur image virtuelle se construit souvent en leur en dessous sans qu'ils en mesurent les véritables enjeux? So let's break this sentence down. It looks kind of intimidating, but once you break it down, it's not going to be as hard as we think it is. Comment prévenir les jeunes? How do you warn the youth? Comment prévenir les jeunes que leur image virtuelle, that their virtual image, right, basically refers to like a virtual picture that you create. For instance, if you're going to create an account of yours on Facebook, or let's say on any other social media, like give it a display picture and create all bunch of updates about it, you are actually creating a virtual picture of yourself, right? So that's what it means over here, the virtual picture over here. Se construit souvent à leur en dessous. So, what does this mean? Se construit souvent à leur en dessous. So, se construit is the picture that, the virtual image that they have created, right? Souvent à leur en dessous. Souvent à leur en dessous is often without their knowledge. Okay, que leur image virtuelle se construit souvent à leur en dessous, souvent à leur en dessous, which is made often without their knowledge, sans qu'ils en mesurent les véritables enjeux. Without them, il refers to who? The youth, right? Les jeunes. Sans qu'ils en mesurent. Okay, for a minute, let's pretend this word en doesn't exist at all. Sans qu'ils mesurent les véritables enjeux, which means without them measuring or gauging the real stakes on hand, right? Stakes on hand. So, let's do it all together. Comment prévenir les jeunes que leur image virtuelle se construit souvent à leur en dessous sans qu'ils mesurent les véritables enjeux? How do you warn the youth that their virtual picture or image se construit, that is which like the image, the impression that it creates, often without their knowledge, without them gauging the real stakes, right? Now when you say without them gauging the real stakes of what? So when we use the word here, the one that we deleted some time back, pretending that it never existed, so I'm just putting it back. So when we use here and then we say mesure les véritables enjeux, this relates to the virtual image that was created often without the knowledge of the youth. So basically it means how are we going to warn the youth that the virtual picture they're actually creating, not that they are creating, that a virtual image that is created, that results without their knowledge, without them knowing the actual stakes on hand. Right? How do you warn the youth that their virtual picture generates without their knowledge, circonstruit, right? It's circonstruit what? It is built by itself. So in this case, what? Which is generated often without their knowledge, is often generated without their knowledge, without them gauging the real stakes on hand. So basically what it's trying to imply is, when youth create a virtual image of themselves, there is a kind of impression that's generated by it, right? For instance, let's an example. Let's take an example of a girl who's actually living in very modest conditions, but she posts a picture of herself wearing very expensive clothes, or always standing in front of very expensive cars, or let's say standing in front of very posh hotels, and she only posts these kind of pictures of her standing in front of very expensive cars, very posh hotels, or wearing expensive clothes, etc. So this virtual picture that she has created is actually generating a sort of impression, right, that this girl is a very rich girl. So this impression that has been self-generated has been done without the knowledge of the girl herself, right? And she doesn't even know the real impacts or the real stakes on hand by this false image that her virtual picture has created. Somebody who doesn't even know her might stumble across her profile and think, oh, this girl, wow, she looks like a really rich person. So what are the stakes on hand? What are the impacts? People mistake her for a rich girl. People think that she's coming from a very affluent family, right? So there could be impacts, right? Right? Enjeu is basically, it means stakes, but it's used in the context of the sentence. So in this case, it's like the impact. How do you warn the youth that the virtual picture, which is self-generated, often without their knowledge, without them gauging the real stakes or the real impacts on hand? So I hope this was a bit explanatory of how we use the word are in different senses, in different places, and how it can be used as an adverb, as a preposition, as a pronoun sometimes, right? And like I said, once again, this video is basically a very short video, just targeted at a very specific section of my students who wanted to have a bit of their doubts cleared. So I just thought of making a video. If you need more explanation about when we use certain words, preposition, adverbs, please feel free to contact me, or via Facebook Messenger. You have my groups there, or you can contact me through WhatsApp too. If you are a part of my group, you would have access to all those information. So yeah, till then, happy learning, happy studying.